The pressure of sanctions over Iran's nuclear program has made Iranians mistrustful of the powers behind those sanctions, says President Rouhani. He told the UN General Assembly that getting a deal on Iran's nuclear program would be an opportunity for the West to show that it does not oppose the advancement of other countries.
This agreement can carry a global message of peace, security, indicating that the only way to attain conflict resolution is through negotiations and respect, and not through conflict and sanctions.
Sanctions have depressed the value of Iran's currency and led to sharp increases in some consumer prices. In an interview with VOA, the chief U.S. negotiator in these talks, Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs Wendy Sherman, said sanctions relief will benefit all Iranians.
As soon as we suspend our major sanctions, which will happen very early in an agreement, the world will flood into Iran. Many international delegations have already been to Iran, and so they will begin to see what they can do.
With 2 months left in scheduled talks, this is when negotiations get tough, says American University professor Hilary Mann Leverett.
There are deep divides, and it may not be possible to bridge the differences on these issues. But I think at the end of the day, the two sides have decided that it is in their strategic interest to reach a deal, and that in some ways, some of this is just noise.
President Rouhani says Iranians will pursue their full nuclear rights under international law, in keeping with national pride and independence.
If this obvious national fact is not understood by our negotiating partners and they commit grievous miscalculations in the process, a historic and exceptional opportunity will be lost.
Sherman says it was a bold decision by international negotiators to agree to talks about limited enrichment, a decision she hopes will convince Iran to take the difficult decisions it needs to.
We, in fact, are talking about a very limited enrichment program over a long period of time until Iran would be treated like any other non-nuclear weapon state under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty.
In these talks, Iran benefits from an international community distracted by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and by fighting Islamic State militants, says American University professor Akbar Ahmed.
So the last thing the West needs is another major crisis with another Middle East country, and in this case, a major Middle East country, that is Iran. So I think in this environment, with the West distracted, with so many crises bubbling in the Middle East, Iran may just go for the home run.
U.S. negotiators say fighting Islamic State militants has been part of talks with Iran outside the nuclear negotiations. President Rouhani blames the rise of those militants on certain intelligence agencies and, in an apparent reference to U.S. airstrikes, says the solution to this must come from within the Middle East itself. Scott Stearns, VOA News at the United Nations.